Page 36 at the ice cream counter. At the top of the page, they're giving you some examples about intervals. Intervals can get rather involved, but for now, let's just say an interval is the distance between two notes, any two notes. They give examples of 3 of them, but if it could be any 2 notes, good luck. You want to understand them? Yes, it comes in handy because we talk about intervals and things, so it helps to know what they are. Some of the most common ones, well, look at the music here, the ice cream counter. In the right hand at the beginning, you see those 2 notes. There's a B and a D. The distance between them, we would say, is a third, an interval of a third. And the reason is because we count it. 1, 2, 3. We get to 3, therefore it's a third. Now in music, we don't start counting at 0. We start counting at 1. So the note you're on is 1. Don't think, okay, I'll go to the next note to count 1. That makes the note you're on 0, and we don't do that. So start there. 1, 2, 3. Earlier in a video I said something was an octave. An octave is another interval. Oct means 8. So it's an interval of an 1/8. Well, let's go to C. To C, if we count up 1, remember 1 is the note we're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's why it's an interval of an 8. They all work the same way. Now you can get diminished and augmented and major and minor and all that junk. We're not going to worry about any of that. We're just interested in the numbers right now. A third is very common, and it's easy to spot in music because it's either 2 lines next to each other or 2 spaces next to each other. For instance, in the ice cream counter, the B and the D, they're on lines in the music, and the lines are next to each other, the notes. When you see that, you know it's a third. It's just, you can count on it, it's a third. If you look at the second line in the first measure, it's an A and a C. Those are in spaces, but they're next to each other. Again, it's a third. So you can just glance at music and recognize thirds real easily. That's about all I care to cover about thirds at this point. Let's talk about the ice cream counter. At the beginning, you see it's got 1 sharp in the key signature. Therefore, this is in the key of G major. Recommend in that case you do the scale for G major. You don't know what that is? Go to my G major video and do the beginner part. Please learn the scales to these. It's in 3/4 time, so we only have to count to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the quarter note gets a count. That's what we're counting. Or we could say 3 beats to a measure. That works too, it's the same difference. In the right hand, at the beginning of this, where do the hands go? Well, if you look at the notes, the B and the D, and it's telling you 3 and 5. So I put 3rd finger and 5th finger. Well, if I do that, my hand goes here. That's a G position. So I'm starting out. Now remember, when you play 2 or more notes at a time on piano, don't use the fingers to push it down. Put your hand in that position for those notes and drop the hand down. Let the hand do it. Try and get them down at the same time. I'm not very good at it, but try to. Some fingers are easier than others, but that's no excuse. You gotta just do it. And that's the right hand. Other than that, I don't see a lot going on in the right hand. You've had all this stuff before. You got tied notes in the 2nd and 4th lines, but you know about tied notes, so I shouldn't have to explain that again, I hope. In the left hand, we have these broken chords. Remember broken chords? Look at the first measure in the left hand. You have a G, a B, and a D. Play them all at one time, it's a block chord. When you play them one at a time like this, it's a broken chord. You learn to recognize these things because it makes reading the music a lot easier. In the second line on the left hand, look at that. You have an F sharp. Remember, we have an F sharp in the key signature, so all Fs are sharp. So we have an F sharp. And that's about it for the left hand. Let's put them together. G position. You got block chords going on here, broken chords going on here, and we're all screwed up. Okay, no, we're not. That MP at the beginning, mezzo piano or medium soft, applies to the melody, which is in the right hand. Now that we're right now, don't worry about so much the melody. Just get the right hand a little louder than the left. I'll give us 3 counts. Let's try this out slowly. 1, ready, go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, off.